So just talking through Tadasana. Tadasana is mountain pose. It's a very important pose, and we can kind of bring all of these points of Tadasana throughout our whole entire practice. So let's bring our feet about hip distance apart. And let's kind of move through our feet. So kind of shifting forward on your feet, shifting back onto your heels, and kind of just move a few times until you find your center, your place where you feel like you're completely even from the toes all the way back to the heels. So pressing down through the big toe mound all the way across to the pinky toe, and then pressing down with the heels as well. Then let's lift our toes and spread our toes as far as we can. Maybe you have to lean down and physically pull your toes and then press them down, but just spreading across the toes and then pressing them down, finding a nice steady foundation. Then moving up the legs, let's lift the kneecaps and engage the quads. Then let's find our hip points. So physically, you can find your hip points, and let's just gently lift those hip points. So when you do that, you can find that slight softening of the tailbone. We're not trying to tuck the tailbone, we're not going like this, but we're just kind of softening the tailbone down whenever we lift the front hip points. Then moving up to our collarbone, spreading across the collarbone, finding that space across the collarbone. Now when you do this though, whenever you spread, do you feel your front hips, these frontal ribs, do you feel those lift a little bit? If you do, let's soften those down. So again, whenever we soften them, let's still be mindful about opening our chest. And then bringing the hands down, palms facing forward. And then of course, last but not least, finding that natural curve of our cervical spine, of our neck and our head. So as if you're being pulled by a string from the crown of your head, imagine you're being pulled. So that kind of makes you stand up a little bit taller. And then you can also find a slight tuck to your chin, a slight softening to the chin. So whenever you do this, we're not over tucking the chin, but we're just slightly tucking it so that you can find that length as well. And then just take a moment here in Tadasana, maybe closing the eyes and just noticing each one of these points. So moving from the toes and the feet, up through the thighs and the knees, up to the hips, the ribs, spreading across the collarbone, and then finding that natural curve with the neck as well. And let's think about all of these little points throughout our whole entire practice today. Maybe find one that you connect with the best, that makes the most sense to you. And think about maybe in every single pose we do, maybe thinking about that. So if you really connect with spreading across the collarbone, in every single pose we do today, think about doing that. All right, so Tadasana mountain pose. All right, so I'm just gonna make sure y'all can hear me. Okay, so y'all can still hear. Okay, so standing in Tadasana, let's grab our block. We're gonna open our shoulders up a little bit. We're gonna be doing a lot with our shoulders today. So let's take the block or book, whatever you have, and whatever the widest place is, holding it onto the widest place on the block. And not holding it too, of course hold on to it snugly, but not too hard. And then let's just bring the block up about halfway and pause. So let's roll those triceps down, so rolling the biceps up towards the sky. And let's think about softening the shoulders away from the ears. And again, spreading across the collarbone as well. And can you keep all of these points active and still lift the block a little higher? And then maybe lift it a little bit higher. Maybe your arms are shaking like mine. And still softening the shoulders away from the ears. I have to constantly remind myself to do that. And just taking a few breaths here, taking a big inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale, and then slowly lower down. And then just realigning, grounding down through the feet again. Let's inhale the block up, and let's bring it all the way up to our highest point. Now maybe your highest point isn't bringing it all the way overhead because maybe you can't keep the shoulders soft, soft away from the ears if you bring it too high. So maybe just bringing it a little in front, and we want to have long, straight arms. And again, taking an inhale and an exhale. And notice, did those front ribs lift? Did you get a little arch in your back whenever you lifted the block? Maybe softening those ribs down, softening the tailbone down. Taking a few more breaths here. And then slowly exhale down. And we can place our block to the side and grab onto the strap or belt or towel, whatever you have. So we're going to first start with the hands a little bit wider than shoulder distance, or maybe just shoulder distance. We're going to do that same movement with the strap and then slowly bring it farther and farther overhead. So let's inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. And imagine the only thing that's moving, it's almost like you're just moving. Your shoulder is staying in the socket, you're just moving it up. So keeping those shoulders, the collarbone spread, the shoulders soft away from the ears, and then let's inhale all the way up and take a pause here. And again, did you arch forward? Did you arch your back? Maybe softening those ribs down, maybe engaging the core. Taking one more inhale and exhale down. This time let's inhale up, but maybe bringing the arms a little bit wider than shoulder distance so we can bring it all the way over and back. Then inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. And just doing this a few more times on your own, inhales and exhales. And moving slowly. It's not about moving fast with this. It's really how slow can you move? How long can you inhale and how long can you exhale? Just waking up those shoulders. And then just one more time up and down. And then placing the strap down. And hopefully maybe shaking it out, feeling warm, feeling the shoulders nice and warm. So then let's come to Tadasana at the top of our mats. So again, finding all of those points of Tadasana, grounding down through the feet, engaging the quads, spreading across the collarbone. And then let's inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, hinging at the hips, folding forward to Uttanasana, forward fold. And let's take a moment in this first Uttanasana, forward fold. Maybe bending the knees quite a lot, so our belly is resting on our thighs. Maybe bringing the feet a little bit wider than we typically do just for this first one. And just letting the crown of the head release down to the ground. Maybe you grab opposite elbows with opposite hands and just sway back and forth. I feel it really opening up my hamstrings, so opening up my lower back, my back. Just taking a few breaths here, warming up, opening up the body. And then let's find stillness and bring our feet back to about hip distance. And let's inhale, halfway lift. So when we halfway lift, we're finding a long spine, whether our fingers are on the ground or maybe on our shins or our thighs. And then exhale, fold. Then leading with the heart, inhale, circle the arms all the way overhead. And hands through heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, circle the arms overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, folding for Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Then again, leading with the heart, inhale all the way up. Maybe looking up this time. And exhale, hands through heart center, Tadasana. Then adding on, let's inhale, circle the arms overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, let's plant the hands down and step back to plank. And let's take a moment here in our first plank, really pressing down through all parts of the hands. Let's roll the triceps back and the biceps facing forward. And really find a long line from the crown of your head all the way through your heels and really pressing your heels back. Now let's take a few moments here. If you need to place your knees down, that's perfectly fine. It's still a very engaging posture if you have your knees down. Either way, it's really great. And just taking a few breaths here. And whenever we lower down, we're going to be mindful of keeping our elbows into our ribs and pressing our elbows back whenever we do that. So slowly lowering down as slow as you can until you're all the way on the mat. You can untuck your toes and press the tops of your feet on the ground. So we're going to do a couple of simple back bends here. So bringing our arms down by our side, palms facing down. Again, let's find that space across our collarbone and soften the shoulders away from the ears. Press down through the tops of the feet so much that you engage your legs and your knees kind of lift off the ground. And you can have your forehead here on the ground for a moment. And then let's lift the shoulders, lift the head, and inhale up. And take a few breaths here. Maybe you bring your arms up, but let's keep our feet down for now. Taking 3 breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And inhale as high as you can. And exhale, slowly lower down. You can place the right cheek on the ground. And just take a moment here to pause. Catch your breath. And then let's come back to center, forehead on the ground. Again, press down through the tops of your feet so much that your knees lift off of the mat. And this time, let's bring our hands facing each other. And then let's lift the shoulders up off the mat. Inhale all the way up. And take a few breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Maybe this time you lift your feet up off the ground. And really engaging the outer hips, engaging the thighs. Softening the shoulders away from the ears. Take one more inhale, lift as high as you can, and exhale, slowly lower down, left cheek on the ground. Take a moment here to catch your breath. And then coming back to center with the forehead on the ground. Let's this time bring our hands interlaced behind our back. And let's bring it so that our fist is on our lower back, so our tailbone more so. So this way our elbows are bent. And then let's engage those biceps. So really engage the biceps and then straighten the arms, lifting up, lifting the legs, lifting the shoulders, lifting the head. And let's take, 5 breaths here. Inhale through the nose. Maybe exhale out the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale one more time as high as you can. And exhale down, right cheek on the ground. And just take a moment here. Catch your breath. Even if they're just small, simple back bends, what they are called, they can still definitely be very engaging and really work. Okay, and now since we're going to be doing a good amount of stuff with our shoulders, still on your stomach, let's bring our arms out to a T. So we're bringing our arms out to a T. Hopefully you can see that. And then let's just roll to our right side. So see what feels good for you. Maybe just rolling a little bit feels great for you. Maybe you feel that opening across your shoulder. And your palm is down on the ground. Maybe you go a little bit further. But again, don't push through any pain. We're really just trying to open the shoulder and not obviously not hurt ourselves, so don't push it too far. Just taking a few breaths here. And then exhale down, slowly lower down. And then let's bring that left arm out to the side, palm down, and again, rolling over. So using that right hand to push ourselves over. And just taking a few breaths here. Maybe you have the sole of the right foot down on the ground and maybe the left foot extended out. Or maybe you have both soles of your feet down on the ground. See what feels good for you. One more inhale, and exhale, slowly lower down. Coming back onto our bellies, taking a moment just to notice how that feels in our shoulders. And then coming up into Sphinx. So Sphinx pose, we have all the same things with our lower body. The tops of the feet are pressing into the ground, and our elbows are right underneath our shoulders. Palms of the hands are down on the ground. And just taking a moment here. Now this also is kind of it's a small back bend as well. So you can feel, whenever you spread across your collarbone, you can kind of feel that. Let's press down through the tops of the feet so that we're engaging the legs, the kneecaps, the knees lift up off the ground. And maybe you stay here, maybe this is just enough for you. If you want to take it a little bit further, let's press down through the palms of the hands and just lift our bellies just a little bit, just enough so that our hip points are lifting up off the ground. And take a couple breaths there. And exhale, lower down, just back into Sphinx. So it's not a huge movement. I'm sure that you can't even see me doing it really. You're just engaging the core and pressing down through the quads and the feet. So you're just lifting yourself up a little bit. So maybe do that a few more times on your own, lifting up and taking a few breaths there, and then slowly lowering down. Okay. Now today we're going to be moving into Dolphin. So I want to show you what the hand placement would be for your hands. So you can see with your arms, with your elbow straight underneath your shoulder, your arms are shoulder distance apart. So let's bring our hands together, clasping the hands together. And let's bring those pinkies straight out so that your hands are flush with the ground. You can either bring them straight out or maybe you tuck one of the pinkies into the hand. Whatever helps you feel more comfortable on your forearms and just feeling like you have a nice grounding with the hands. So finding that forearm placement, and then let's tuck the toes and come up into a forearm plank. So again, same thing with a plank, we're spreading across the collarbone, looking a little in front of our mat. Let's really press down through the forearms, through the outer edge of our hand. And press back with our heels as well. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale, slowly lower down. Let's come all the way down to our bellies. Forehead on the ground. Just gonna check the time. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so coming up from on your stomach, let's come up into all fours. So into a quadruped position, tucking the toes, and let's come up into downward facing dog. So again, as I spoke about in the beginning with Tadasana, let's find all those same points that we found with Tadasana. Let's see which ones we can find in downward facing dog. So it's going to be a little bit different with downward dog since our hands are on the ground as well. Let's bring our hands shoulder distance or wider. I like to have my hands the width of the mat and my fingers turned out a little bit. Then let's roll those triceps down towards the mat and really push through the hands, push through all parts of the hands. Then let's find a bend in the knee. That way we can really find length from our crown all the way through our tailbone. And of course we're moving towards having our heels on the ground, but it's really not necessary to have them on the ground at all. It's really about finding that space in the back. Find that space across the collarbone, softening the shoulders away from the ears still. And just taking a few breaths here. Maybe since it's our first down dog, pedal out the backs of the legs. Pedal out the feet. And then let's find stillness. Look to the top of the mat. Take an inhale and exhale. Step to the top, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, leading with the heart. Come all the way to standing. Hands through heart center, Tadasana. Okay. And we're going to build a little bit of heat moving through our sun salutation. So standing at the top of your mat in Tadasana. Inhale, circle the arms overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. You can lower your knees or stay in plank. Shift forward, then slowly lower down to Chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look to the top of your mat, step, hop, or jump to the top for a halfway lift, then exhale, fold. Inhale, leading with the heart all the way to standing. Hands through heart center, Tadasana. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, hinging at the hips, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, move through your vinyasa. Taking a couple breaths here. And then let's lower our knees and come sitting up for Virasana or whatever's comfortable right now. So we're moving into our peak pose dolphin. So I'm going to come a little bit closer to the camera. Okay, so for dolphin, you're essentially doing what you do for your lower body that you do in downward facing dog. So think about all the things that come with downward facing dog. Then let's link that with what we just did in Sphinx pose with our forearms down on the ground. So finding that shoulder distance with the hands, you can bring your hands across your elbows and that would be your shoulder distance. Then keeping the hands, the elbows there, bringing the hands up and interlacing the fingers. Then let's bring the pinkies out. They can either be out like this so that you have a flush padding for them on the ground, or you can maybe curl one pinky in, and again, it's just flush on the ground. So that's our grounding, sorry, losing my words. That's what you're putting, how you're placing your arms down on the ground, and then bringing your bottom up for downward facing dog. So we're gonna do this a few times on our own. I'm gonna show you some different variations that you can do, but hopefully your shoulders are open and awake enough, and your body's awake enough to do a few of these, and just kind of play around with it, have fun with it, see how it feels for you. These are very, very active postures and really great for your shoulders. So let's find that. So let's find the placement with our hands. I'm gonna take my socks off though. So let's find the placement with our hands. Placing our elbow shoulder distance on the ground, bringing the hands out, interlacing the fingers, releasing those pinkies, either out or maybe tucking one in and finding so that's flush on the ground. Then let's think about what we did in the forearm plank. Really press down through the forearms, press down through the elbows, spread across the collarbone and soften the shoulders away from the ears. Then whenever you feel comfortable and grounded with that, tuck the toes and lift your bottom up. So you're doing the same thing that you do with downward facing dog for the lower half of your body. Maybe bringing the feet in a little bit further. Again, you're moving towards having your heels on the ground, but it's not necessary at all to have them on the ground. Your feet are hip distance. And just keep pressing through those forearms. Press with those elbows. Engage the quads as well. Take a few breaths here for as long as you can hold it maybe. Take one more inhale and exhale, lower down. How's that feel? It's definitely a very engaging, a pretty difficult pose, but it's really great to use this to work up to maybe Pincha Mayurasana, forearm stand, or work your way up to a headstand. It's just a really great pose, really working the shoulders, working the arms. You're thinking about so many things. So let's do that a few more times. I'm gonna talk you through a couple more things that we can do with it, but work on your own time, play around with it, have fun with it, and just see what you can do, see what your body wants to do today. So again, placing the hands down, elbow shoulder distance, interlacing the fingers, tucking the toes, coming up. This time I'm going to lift my right leg high. Really pressing through the forearms, pressing through the elbows, lifting the shoulders away from the ears. And then I'm going to lower that right leg and bring that left leg high. And remembering to breathe, inhale and exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Really push the ground away with your forearms. Lower that left leg, take 2 more breaths here. And slowly lower down. Maybe coming all the way down into a child's pose, bringing the arms behind, forehead on the ground. Let's take an inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth. And 2 more. Inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. Inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth. Okay, so we're gonna, if you feel like it, if you feel like you want to do it, let's do dolphin one more time. This time we're going to do what we call dolphin dips. So these are really, you're gonna feel some fire in your shoulders. So let's bring our elbows down, again, shoulder distance, forearms down, hands interlaced, tuck the toes, lift all the way up into dolphin. Let's maybe bring our feet maybe a little bit closer. You can really feel it whenever you bring your feet closer. Again, lift the shoulders, press down through the forearms and the elbows. And for dolphin dips, we're pressing back with the forearms, then leaning over the hands, then press back. Inhale and exhale over. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Maybe do 5 more. Forgot to count, but lower your knees. Come into child's pose, take a break. Again, let's take an inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth. If you want to do some more of those, you're more than welcome to. Or maybe stay in child's pose, maybe take a water break. Just take a moment, see how you feel. All right, how's everybody feeling? All right, so coming back, maybe you're still in child's pose. Let's stay in that child's pose for a moment and come into extended child's pose, meaning bringing our hands out in front of us. So we're really active with our arms. Our fingertips are on the ground, our forearms and triceps and biceps are up off the ground. And just press back with the hands. And then let's slowly bring our hands closer towards us, slowly rising up and coming into a comfortable seated position. Let's actually come, if you have a block or you have a book, let's bring it underneath us like we did in the beginning for Virasana. So again, maybe we're just gonna cool those shoulders off a little bit, just bringing the strap again, bring it up and over, but just slowly, maybe bringing it even wider than you did before. Just do it a couple times on your own breath, inhaling up and exhaling back. And then bringing the strap down. And let's bring our feet in front of us. I'm going to keep the block underneath my seat so that I'm kind of elevated. And I'm taking the flesh of my buttock out from underneath me, so I'm sitting right on my sit bones. Coming into Dandasana staff pose. So you have strong legs, your feet are flexed, arms down by your side, and just sitting up tall, taking a moment here. Maybe close the eyes and let's take a few breaths here. And let's inhale the arms up and exhale, hinging forward. And we don't need to touch our toes, don't need to touch our feet, maybe even just staying here. You're really feeling as though you're being pulled by your chest forward. That way you can fold forward with a long spine. You can even bring a bend to your knees. You'll still feel the stretch all throughout your back body. I actually feel it a little bit more whenever I do bend my knees, so that feels good for me. So see what feels good for you. Taking a few breaths here. Starting to slow down the heart. Slow down your breathing. I don't know about y'all, but that got my heart going, got my breathing going, really worked my body, so starting to slow down. And let's slowly come up, leading with the heart. Let's bring that right knee in, taking a pause here just to, again, engage that left foot. And then let's inhale the left arm up and exhale, twist open towards the right side. Maybe you bring that left elbow on the right knee and that right hand back. And then with each inhale, we're inhaling, creating space through our spine, and then exhaling and twisting open just a little bit more. Not pushing our body to twist more than it wants to. And then the last thing to twist would be your head looking over your back, right shoulder. Let's just take a few breaths here. These twists are really great for detoxing the organs and opening up the side bodies, but you can almost imagine with each inhale you're creating space throughout your spine, and every exhale you're twisting and detoxing those organs. And then let's look forward and slowly unwind. And then just maybe imagining whenever you unwind, your organs are then getting all this blood rushing towards them, really bringing them back to life and just detoxing, and it's really great for them. So bringing that right foot out and then bringing the left foot in. Again, engage that right foot, flex the right foot. Let's inhale the right arm up, find space, and exhale, twist open towards the left. Again, you can bring the right elbow to the left knee and the left hand behind you. And take a few moments here before you look over that shoulder. So take a few moments to inhale and find space, and exhale, twist just a little bit deeper. And when you feel ready, looking over that back left shoulder. Let's take a few more breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. And let's look forward and slowly unwind. And we can remove the block, remove whatever we're sitting on, and let's come back onto our backs, coming into Apanasana, wind relieving pose. So that is where we're bringing our knees into our chest, and let's just take a moment here. Take a moment to align your spine, squeeze the knees into the chest, and then let's exhale, drop the knees to the right side. And let's keep our knees higher than our hips. So make sure that your knees are higher than your hips. And bring our arms out to cactus arms, or maybe out to a T if you have enough space. And then let's look over that left shoulder. And take a few breaths here, maybe close your eyes. Take 2 more inhales. And then let's inhale the knees back to center. Take a moment to realign your spine. And then exhale, drop the knees to the left side. Again, knees higher than your hips and arms out to the side. And then maybe looking over that right shoulder. Maybe closing the eyes. And maybe just tune into that breath. Notice how you're breathing now. Hopefully you're slowing your breathing down. Taking long inhales and long, slow exhales. Taking a few more breaths on your own. And then coming back to center and realigning the spine again. Taking a moment, maybe squeeze the knees in for one last Apanasana. Maybe coming into Happy Baby, grabbing the outer edges of your feet if that feels good. Pressing down that lower back if you're in Happy Baby. And just take a couple breaths here for yourself on your own. And then back to center. One more squeeze in. And then exhale all the way down for our last pose, Shavasana. So coming into Shavasana, releasing everything onto the ground. If you'd like to have something under your knees, it always feels good for me. And bringing your arms out so they're not touching the side of your body. Bringing your feet to the outer edges of the mat. And just release everything down. Maybe take one big inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth. And just let everything go. And just know that this is our last pose. You've done everything that you need to for today. Soften the muscles of the face, the forehead. Soften your jaw. Maybe release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Soften your shoulders. Let them just release into the earth. Soften your belly. Soften your hips. Soften the thighs. Soften your knees. And release your feet. Release everything into the earth. And just let everything go. Maybe we start to think about what we thought about at the beginning of class, how we're feeling. Maybe it's completely different than it was just an hour ago. What is it that you're feeling? And just being a witness to it. not being absorbed by that energy, by that emotion, but just seeing it for what it is and saying, that's okay, this is not permanent. Of course, it's very helpful to think that an emotion is not positive or not permanent when it's a negative emotion, but what about thinking of it not being permanent if it's a positive emotion? How does that make you feel? For me, it helps me bring me to this present moment and see that this happiness is beautiful and feel so much gratitude for this positive emotion that I'm having. And even more gratitude because I know that it might not be permanent. Just feeling grateful for that. And of course, if we're not feeling our best at some point, that too is okay. And remembering that's not permanent can help us move through it easier. Maybe taking that thought over the next week or so and just noticing that. Noticing how we're feeling and saying, that's okay. This is not permanent. You're always welcome to stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. But we'll start to deepen our inhales now. And start to bring small movements into the body. Maybe wiggling the fingers and toes. Maybe rolling out those wrists and ankles. And then when you're ready, slowly rolling onto your right side and pausing there for a moment. And then coming into a comfortable seated position with your eyes still closed. Bringing our hands to heart center. And just feeling everything that we just did for ourselves. Feeling all of our muscles singing to us. And let's say thank you to all of our muscles. Say thank you to ourselves for showing up today. And hold that gratitude in our hearts and carry it with us throughout the day, throughout the weekend. And thank you very much for joining me this morning. I love you all so much. Namaste. Have a beautiful Saturday. I'll see you all again soon. Love you. Bye.